These days, Glen Hansard's music has won global awards, but his musical journey began as a teenager on the streets of his hometown, Dublin. He was always in trouble at school, and his headmaster allowed him to drop out at 13 to be a busker.
He kind of gave me a deal. He said, if you're really into music, go and do it, but do it at the very bottom. Start at the very, very bottom. And if you start young, you'll get there. And so he kind of cut me a deal and said, go and start on the street, and if it works out for you, great, stay out of school. But if it doesn't, I'll get you back in 6 months.
Show yourself to me! Yeah.
Hansard never went back to school and honed his craft busking for coins.
I was also, you know, apart from my dad, at sort of 13, 14, I was, you know, the only other breadwinner, I guess, in the house. I was self-employed at that age, which kind of now when I think back on it, I sort of go, wow, there was no theory, it was all real. And so in a way I found myself thrust into a level of education to do with writers and to do with poets that it was actually really compelling and really interesting and raw, as opposed to having to do my homework.
Soul.
That's what you've got to measure up to, lads. Well, like, maybe we're a little white.
Those local connections forged on the street gave Hansard his first big success, when at just 20, he was cast in the hit film The Commitments, along with a number of amateur actors. He loved working on it, but fame came at a cost.
I watched, you know, 10 of my friends basically go through an incredible arc of experience with that film that left everybody in an incredible place of opportunity and future, and but then I also saw them suffer from recognition too young, and then from identifying too strongly with their characters. We were all non-actors.
You're talking like I never knew you. That's a lie.
Worse was to come. After the film, Hansard returned to his band The Frames, only to be dumped by their record label.
You're never on my side.
So for me, being in The Commitments and then being dropped from a record label all happened very quickly in succession, which was, I guess, the first major rocking of my character, the first major failure in my life. And that will shape you up quicker than anything. That will let you know who you are.
Take this sinking boat and port it home. We still got time.
Years later, Hansard again returned to film, and a duet with a Czech singer came to be his greatest success.
And the Oscar goes to Glen Hansard and Markéta Irglova for Falling Slowly for Months.
Their song Falling Slowly featured in the film Once, a low-budget Irish film that was a surprise hit.
This is amazing. What are we doing here? This is mad.
2007 was when we won the Oscar. It was such a huge experience. I was kind of confused about what happened with us, kind of a little embarrassed about the award and how kind of crazy everything had gone.
Star, teach me how to
Hansard's career has never been predictable, and this year took another twist.
¿Vienen desde Irlanda? Sí. Madre de Dios. Son unos auténticos celtas.
He was part of a crew that rowed a traditional Celtic boat all the way from Dublin to Santiago in Spain.
You know, there were days when we got caught out in some big winds and we'd see a lobster pot. You just tie onto the lobster pot. And you know, you're dragging that lobster pot along the seabed, but it's anchoring the boat somewhat. And we just sit there and let the wind blow out. And when the wind blew out, we got back on the oars and we went back all the way we lost.
Hansard says those weeks at the mercy of the Atlantic have taught him many life lessons about staying true to your dreams and ambitions.
So in a way, that's what life is. Life's about picking your path, and then you sort of drift off it somehow, but just through life, because life is magnetic. It pulls you one way or the other. It doesn't, you know, it's like getting one of those trolleys in the airport that doesn't quite want to stay the line. You know, life is difficult. You're constantly readjusting. You're constantly re-pointing yourself towards your, you know, destination.